So other than all this nonsense, how was your week?
Uneventful. I didn't do anything, I know we're not the weather show, but if we weren't recording tonight, I'd be on the front porch getting drunk tonight. So,
well, see, that's the difference between me and you. You would have been out there getting drunk. I was out today, and then the other day that we had nice weather last week, I was out riding bikes.
Oh, I haven't ridden a bike in so long. I have zero balance because of inner ear stuff, but
right.
You do a lot of bike riding these days again?
Well, as the weather's nice, I like to go out. All three of us go out and everything else like that. But we definitely need to I definitely need to get a new seat for my bike, because like the seat is just the seat that came with the bike that I got, but I definitely need like a fat fuck seat,
Gotcha. It disappears when you ride it.
Again, it's not so much that it disappears, because it does, but it's just more so that I feel it for like the next day, that it's like really
gotcha.
My and again, listen, this is the After Dark show. My ass really takes a pounding from the seat,
Right. It's like the Chris Farley Tommy Boy. I don't feel so much here or here, but right here.
I can show you exactly where on my ass.
Mm-hmm.
The seat really gives me trouble. But you go search online and you start typing in like men's bike seats, and then immediately it like pre-fills in for like to protect your balls or your dick or something, right?
Right.
And I'm okay with that. Like I've lived my life some 46 plus years knowing how to protect that. But a man of my sizable carriage typically shouldn't be riding a bike, but I am. Mm-hmm. And I it's one of those things where like I don't want to roll the dice on a bike seat on Amazon, but the bike shop that's by us closed down some time ago, and the only like specialty shop is like up your way.
Yeah, on Cedar Avenue, right?
Yeah. So
well, why don't you hit that when you're down for the comics if you can, or visiting your father?
Right. So that's the thing. Wednesdays is tough because their hours aren't conducive to it. But more than likely this Sunday we're gonna swing by and try out some
fat-ass bicycle seats.
Yes. I was gonna say, they need a bicycle seat place, not unlike Thornton Mellon's store in Back to School.
Right, at the bicycle shop, they're like, when you look at the menu, do you go, okay? Such a great fucking joke, man.
Oh, my goodness. So I know, I have notes of things that I have to bring up to you.
Yep.
And I don't know if we're going to cut up the Sydney Sweeney discussion from Patreon to put it here. That's on the $100 level.
That is. That's a hefty subject right there.
Maybe it isn't, though. I don't know.
You don't know. Right? It's all relative, like Einstein said. But.
Yeah. But we went to the comedy show in Rochester this past weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a long time since I've been in the car that long. It was like a 3.5 hour drive.
Right. Do you need a fat fuck driver seat too, or?
No. April drives because like she gets car sick if she's a passenger or whatever it is, and I think.
And you said you don't get as many tickets with a weak woman driving. You said.
Well, you can take like at least one word out of that sentence.
Right.
I forget what it was. Something like she was. So like the whole way up and the whole way back, it was like pouring rain, right? It could have been worse. Because the next day, like, we had snow. Like, that area had snow. So, again, we lucked out there. But at one point in a 55, she was doing, like, 80.
Yeah, April.
And I go, hey, you might want to slow it down there a little bit. She's like, oh, I didn't even realize. And I go, it's going to be a little tougher for you to get out of a ticket with your husband sitting here, right?
The heaviest part of your wife is her foot.
Yes. Anyway. But the show was good. Had a good time. Got to meet Discord member, listener to the show, Matt Fish. It was nice to meet him in person. But it's a 3.5 hour drive. I haven't been in the car that long for like well over 5 years.
Mhm.
So it's just like, ugh. And then we lose the hour coming home because of daylight savings, right?
Which for some reason didn't bother me this year, but go ahead.
Well, driving home it's a 3.5 hour drive and it says that it's going to take us 4.5 hours because of the time, like losing the hour. And I'm like, oh, anyway.
Well, that's you for going to see a potato. What do you want?
Well, did you see the picture of me and the potato? Did you see the potato and me? Did you see?
Stop doing your what strangers with candy bit.
No, brain candy. How dare you?
Brain candy bit. Yeah, I did see it. It was fantastic. I hope you got all your Cardiff Electric out of your system now.
I didn't.
Son of a.
I was like, we wanted to get home because like it's a hike. Matt actually had a longer hike, so he got a hotel. So he's like, oh, I'm hanging at the bar, right?
Yeah.
So he got to like hang with everybody a lot longer than we did. I'm always concerned when I meet a famous person that I'm going to come on too strong or like say the wrong thing or whatever it was. But as Cardiff was like taking pictures with other people, he saw me like maybe like 2 or 3 people behind, and he pointed at me and he said, Joe. And I'm like, oh, all right, that kind of broke the ice a little bit.
Yeah.
But no, it was, it was fun. I was worried that it'd be one of those things where like I would go and you experience the people that you listen to in person, and then it's like, all right, I'm done. I got everything out of this I could, but no, I'm still dabble-verse-pilled, if you will, involved in all that. Yeah, there was discussion about it in other podcasts over on the Discord this week. What was I going to say? But the other thing that I was really worried about was sometimes the comedy can get a little uncomfortable, if you will.
Right.
Like the stuff that they cover on the podcast and stuff. And I was worried that it was going to be like too much for April, and she would have been like, she's like, I'm out of here. You're like, you enjoy. I'm just going to go sit somewhere else. But I tried to prep her for it.
Mm-hmm.
And she did. I was very happy that she didn't like run screaming for the hills, Right.
She kept her disdain to herself.
No, on the way home, I asked her. She's like, she goes, you made it sound much worse than it actually was.
Mm-hmm.
And I said I had to kind of like really give you the hardcorest stuff just in case they all decided to go crazy with it.
Mm-hmm.
But we all had a good time. It was fun. They're not doing anything East Coasty, our neck of the woods for some time, but like they did Philly last year, the same day that I had an LVAC show.
Right.
So if they do Philly again, I'll probably do Philly. If they do Rochester again, even though it's like a 3.5 hour drive, I'll probably do Rochester again. But they're like doing like Florida next weekend, and then they're doing Las Vegas the end of May. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, all right, I'll drive.
You know what, Joe? Next time they're in the area, make sure you let me know.
I will.
So I can have alternate plans.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
But that was it. That was my weekend. I heard a rumor.
Yes.
That you went and got pizza this week.
I did. After doing the podcast on Tuesday as we record, I decided Wednesday was always kind of like my pizza night. Back when new comics were Wednesday, I used to get my comics on Wednesday and get pizza. So now that everything's going back to Wednesday, that'll be wonderful. So I was like, oh, let me go get pizza. I usually get it around here. And I'm like, you know what? I want the pizza with the onions. But the one near your house is further away, but there's one along, closer. And I'm like, oh, okay. And it's next to a certain donut place.
Yes. A connection where you get your special peanut sticks.
Yes. It'll all come around, right? So I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm going to go down and I'm going to try this pizza with the onion. That's actually closer.
It's the same. And so it's the same place. The name is the same.
Right.
They're both called Pizza Love and not a sponsor.
Right.
But one is like literally walking distance from my house, which is, as Todd mentioned, which is like an extra like 10 miles away from the other one, which is also called Pizza Lovin', which I have not eaten at in, almost 20 years since I'm next to the one that's here.
It's been as long as since I've had a Wimpy. But anyway.
Right. Oh, we'll get into that.
Right. So I decide, I call down, they tell me how long it's going to be. And they, we only take cash. I'm like, that's how I pay, straight cash, homie. Right. So I called it 20, 25 minutes. I'm like, all right, I do the the GPS just to get an idea. I'm like, all right, it's 20 minutes to get to Pizza Lovin'. And right up the road is Donut Connection. This is going to work out fantastic, right? So I go up and I drive. I got to drive, half a block, maybe a block past Pizza Lovin', and I go into Donut Connection. I'm like, I walk in, Joe, and behind the counter they have all their donuts. It's like an old-timey Dunkin' Donuts back in the day. That's all it is. It's a refurbished like Dunkin' Donuts, and I'm like, oh, okay. And I look, and they only have one peanut stick. I'm like, well, at least they have one. Whatever. And the lady has like a hard accent who runs the place. And I go, can I have a peanut stick? And it's like, is that all you have? She's like, no. And I'm not going to do the accent. You know what I mean? No, we have more if you want. I said, okay. And she goes, as a matter of fact, I can make you a couple. I was like, what? She goes, yeah. She goes, they're not out of the oven, but I can make them. And by make them, they just take because it's not a round donut. It's like a stick, and they roll it in the glaze, and then they roll it in the peanut chips. She's like, so how many do you want? I said, like 3 altogether, because I thought she was going to give me the old one. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, yeah. Whatever. For 2 new ones, I'll take an old one. She's like, what does 3 altogether mean? And Joe, I don't know if you know this. Sometimes I have a hard time explaining or getting my thoughts out. And I'm
people like, that speak the same language as you.
Right. So I just go, well, what I'm trying to say is with that one, I'd like 2 more. That's 3 altogether. She goes, no, I'll make you 3 new ones. I was like, okay. So I see her in the back, and she's like taking them, and she's like rolling them in the glaze. And then like I could see her go off, and I guess she's rolling them in the peanut. And she made like 12 or whatever to put out 2. You know what I mean? She's like, so she didn't come right back. And I'm like, this is cutting into my pizza time, but we're getting fresh, And she says, like I said, they're not out of the fryer, but they're new, like they're fresher and they're freshly made. I was like, that's fine. So she gives me the 3, and I put them in the bag, and I walk out to the truck, and I'm not even in the truck yet, and I break off a piece, Joe, and I pop it in my mouth, and it's manna from heaven, Joe. Fresh glaze. It's got that sugary, like crystal, like when you bite it, peanuts like just stuck to it. It's not like dry because like the donut itself, because it's been sitting or stale. It was so good. I only had to drive half a block, and I ate the 2 donuts. They were gone. And I'm like debating whether I go back and get more. And I'm like, no. I've had my 2. They were delicious. I have the 1 for after the pizza, and that's I did the Louis Anderson bit. I threw it in the back seat so I couldn't reach it, like the French fries. I was like, if I put it on the floor in the back of the truck, I can't grab it while I'm driving. Spoiler alert, I tried.
I was going to say, not from a lack of trying, but all right.
Just at the tips. It was like the Cup of Christ in Last Crusade.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm like, all I can hear is like, let it go, Junior, right? So I did that, and I went and I got the pizza, drove home, maybe had a drive and slice while I was going. I got home, I had some of the pizza. I waited a little bit, and I finished off that 3rd peanut stick. I will say, glorious day. I do think the pizza with the onions is better at your place.
Thank you.
First of all, they don't ask you if you want onions. You have to ask for the onions. You have to make sure. It just doesn't come with. And I don't know. I think at your place, they just, if you ask for it, they don't charge you extra. Here, they charge you extra for onions. So I'm like, whatever. I'm not a pauper. I'll pay for onions. And I will say it wasn't as crisp, like, because it's a fried pizza.
Yeah.
The dough was not as crispy and like the way it is like up your house. The sauce, cheese was pretty much the same, I would guess. But I don't know. There was something about, I don't know if I'm psychologically saying that you're like in my head, yours is better. And I don't know. But if I had to do it again, I would drive up to yours, get it, and come back, and then grab some donuts along the way. You know what I mean? But I will say this. I may have been probing your other co-host.
Uh-oh.
Because he's like, oh, I do this for my super secret new job that I do. And he's like, and I had to drive past the comic shop. And I'm like, oh, well, what comic shop is it? And he's like, I think it's this one. I'm like, ooh, that's right. Like, I have to pass that and go like half a mile, and that's where the donuts are. So I know he's around there for work. So I may like bribe him to bring me peanut sticks back, and be like, he could be my donut connection.
Oh my goodness, he could be your donut connection.
There you go. And I would even pay. I would be like, here's some cash, because I know that man doesn't carry straight cash, homie. He carries card, and I don't know if they take card. They might, but I'd be like, here's money for your try their coffee. See, hopefully he'll love their coffee and it'll be better than Dunkin'. And he'd be like, oh, I got to go there for my coffee, and I'll get the donuts. And I'm sure he won't hear any of this. And this isn't my way of, telling him without being able to get any grief back.
Yes.
But you get it, So
my pizza oven, according to their menu, onions are, if you want extra onion, then it's extra. But right. Just onion, no onion. They just need to know there's no charge there. But if you want, I've never gotten extra onion. That would be crazy.
That would just be, want some pizza with your onion?
Yeah.
But yeah, so with this, I do believe that I'd have to check their menu, but they charge you for onions. You wouldn't happen to be passing the donut place when you're coming for your comics tomorrow, would you?
No, I'm just kidding. No.
I'm just kidding. Or
that's not the way I go. I'm sorry.
No. I could give you extra gas money. Here's a 50, Joe.
Let me see. Well, are you going to be at the shop tomorrow?
No, but I could be. I might have to give you some scans, so you never know. I do have to lay off those donuts, though. I can't go. If I had a connection that could get me them 5 days out of the week, I'd be dead. They're so good. As my uncle said, who nobody in my family could really stand. He thought he was a gourmet chef. This is what I do to my brother to piss him off. He thought he was a gourmet chef. I really don't think he was. But he'd be like, all right, so you take these special mushrooms that you can only get in this one country, these insanity peppers over here, and you do this and you mix it all together. And when he's done, he's like, you mix it up, and that's good stuff. That's good stuff. And that's exactly how he would say it. And whenever I go to my brother's for dinner, and I'd be like, oh, what'd you have? We're making lasagna. All right. Blah, blah, blah. I take a bite and be like, that's good stuff. And he goes crazy. So
I was trying to plot out the course. Obviously, you would not have to worry about me eating your peanut sticks.
Right. Well, yeah, I thought you didn't like peanut sticks.
No, I wouldn't eat them.
Oh, okay.
Right. But that's what I'm saying is you wouldn't have to worry about me. It's well, I bought 5, but only 3.5 made it. No,
I would still eat those 3.5, and that is a bet I'm willing to take. A wager. A loss is fine.
All right.
You can find a donut you like. I don't know what kind of donut you like.
Unflavored for me.
Oh, okay.
But just as a side note, we'll close it on this. Obviously going. You'd kind of thumbed your nose at Dunkin' Donuts before, and I agree. They don't even make the donuts on premises anymore. They're made in a I don't know where the hell they're made, and
somewhere around here, and then they're trucked in on those trays. It's disgusting.
And if you go after 10 o'clock,
you're eating rocks.
Well, not only are you eating rocks, but you're eating a lesser selection of rocks. It's not like they have a ton of donuts there to begin with. As I pull up
6 or 7 choices anymore in mine.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm gonna pull up the app because we went the other day on Sunday, and April's like, "Oh, I want to get a coffee. It's late at night. I want to be up for the rest of my life. I want a coffee." So I go, "Okay, you're driving. Stop and get a coffee, right?" Mm-hmm. And so we stop and get a coffee. Okay. So that's the thing. I can't even go through the app because as we record this, Todd, it's 9:30 and all the Dunkin' Donuts are closed.
Do you remember when Dunkin' Donuts were 24 hours?
Yes.
And I think I said this on the show before, but I'll say it again. I had a friend in high school who worked at Dunkin' Donuts. She was a waitress.
Mm-hmm.
And she would give me the Iggy when they were making the donuts. And I would go up and get fresh ones. And that was back when you could stay there 24 hours. And she worked after I was like able to drink after, well, even though I drank underage, we've been over this. So they would go all night and she would work the night shift and she'd come in and she wouldn't charge us. We'd go in there, we wouldn't get charged for anything all night. We would leave the bar at 2, be there till 4, and just gourd ourselves on whatever. I didn't drink coffee. I drank soda. And that was back when they had the fountain machine. Just go like a champ on that shit. Gee, I wonder why I have borderline diabetes. But anyway.
All right, so I will say this. According to the app, they have 15 different donuts that you could select from.
I think that includes like smidgens and stuff like that.
No, okay, I'll go through the whole list. The month specialty donut is a churro donut, right?
Mm-hmm.
Boston cream, chocolate frosted, double chocolate frosted with sprinkles, glazed blueberry, glazed chocolate, which is my favorite, jelly, old-fashioned powdered, strawberry frosted with sprinkles, which is the Homer Simpson donut, vanilla frosted with sprinkles, vanilla cream, the New Yorker, whatever the hell that is, sour cream sugared, which is my next choice, French apple and maple frosted.
No. And
okay,
go ahead.
I guarantee you go to a Dunkin' Donuts anytime after 10 o'clock, and your choice is like, if there's 15 donuts on that app, you got a choice of maybe 5.
I was going to go with 4 as the over-under, but yeah.
Because we went, it was maybe like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and my kid wanted a donut. I'm like, oh, I'll get a donut, right? We're going to use up all the points. And like, we ended up getting like 2 donuts and a large coffee for like $1.29, right? Because we used up all the points. That's why you get the apps for the fast food places, right?
Yep.
And my kid wanted a glazed. I got the chocolate glazed. We get around to the window. They're like, yeah, we don't have chocolate glazed. I go, obviously, there's no way they can update the app all the time, but I've never, like, I can't think of the last time in the last 3 years where I've gone there and I say, can I get a chocolate glazed? And they've actually had a chocolate glazed donut.
You know where has chocolate glazed donuts a lot, Joe? And they'll make them for you if they don't have them right there.
All right, where's that?
Donut Connection.
All right. Let me MapQuest this out here for you. Donut.
Now, remember, it's the one in Exeter, not in Pittsburgh.
I know.
Hey, listen, I have to, because we've been over this. I did do the test. I know which one's better.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you could order online.
Apparently, yeah. They have a pretty good selection of donuts, man. And they have them all usually.
Okay. And they're open until midnight, Todd? Midnight?
Joe, you don't know how many times I've made a 9:30 run.
All right, I'm going to order online. All right, I will say that their website might be a little suspect, right?
Yeah, but you know what? It's that down-hominess that's really good.
You can get soup there. Oh, Todd, I might get myself a nice cup of lobster bisque from Donut Connection when I pick up your fucking donuts. Jesus Christ.
Joe, you know what? You're going to go to that place. You're going to get a chocolate frosted fucking donut or whatever it is that you eat. And you're going to come to me next week and you're going to go, that was delightful.
Yeah.
You know what? Everything that I had there, and did you have any of them when I got suckered into going to Rumble? When I brought
no.
Because you were like, oh, I'm being good, I'm not having. They are everything that you remember from having a Dunkin' Donut back in the day. Do you know what I mean? Like everyone I've ever had reminded me, and I think that's what it is. I'm not going to say they're the greatest donuts ever, but they remind me of my heyday, Joe. It's like tasting my youth. That's what it is. Done. You're going to love them. You're going to love them.
Okay. It would only add like an extra 10 minutes onto my drive.
Right.
All right.
You do know all this fun that we're having. If this was out of your way, you would never have to do this. I would never ask you. You know what I mean?
Right.
But when you do a bit, it helps,
Right, that's true.
Bits are good for something, Joe.
Yeah. Okay. I was going to say, Donut Connection also has a Twitter account that they abandoned in 2016.
But who hasn't abandoned a Twitter? Hey, I heard Twitter accounts abandon you, Joe.
Yeah, they do.
I must got that sentence out. But anyway,
I'm gonna give them a follow.
Right. Maybe we can get them to be a sponsor, Longbox Heroes.
Do you have any peanut sticks fresh?
Oh, Joe, that's good stuff.
I need them now. So we'll see.
Right after Lamborghini gets back to us.
The only people that they're following is the other Donut Connections.
Right. Which I probably bet that they make them there and then truck them over to that one. You know what I mean?
Well, I'll say this. There's like 2 or 3 of them that are in West Virginia, so I don't think it's that one.
Right, but what I mean is the Exeter one maybe, like I do believe if they have 2 within 5 minutes of each other,
yeah,
that they wouldn't have two kitchens or 2 cooks. You know what I mean? Bakers.
Yeah.
They would do one and kind of, it's that I don't mind so much, you know?
All right. So I will be stopping there tomorrow to get your peanut sticks before I
so how much? I'll PayPal you. You give me the bill and I'll PayPal you.
Well, what am I? Well, give me. Listen, straight cash, homie. When you show up at the shop tomorrow, give me money, right?
I know, but sometimes you like it beforehand because I know you're destitute.
Get out of here.
After having to pay for everything on your cruise.
Nah, you're good for it.
Okay, I am good for it. Or you could just hold it out of the next, Patreon money.
I was going to say, I just PayPal'd you an indeterminate amount of money the other day, so I know you're at least good for that much, right?
Yes, that is true. I have that still.
All right, so enough of this nonsense. It's Longbox Heroes After Dark, patreon.com/Longbox Heroes, the eBay affiliate link, the store, TeePublic store. I don't know. If you want to mail order peanut sticks to Todd, let me know, and I'll give you his home address.
Right. Have them sent to the shop as all stuff is, you know?
Right, exactly.
Max might eat it, but that's okay.
Yeah, he's allowed. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
You're listening to the soon-to-be-named network, the Lamborghini of podcast networks.